"You're not welcome here," the manager spat without even looking up from the desk. Clint Eastwood, yes, that Clint, stood still for a second, then calmly replied, "I didn't ask for a welcome. I asked for a job." The room went dead silent. Everyone froze, but the manager smirked and said, "We don't hire your kind here. Washed-up old-timers trying to feel important." What he didn't know? Clint wasn't there for a job. He was undercover. And this wasn't just any restaurant. It was part of a chain under federal investigation for racial profiling and illegal labor practices. Clint's next move would expose the entire operation. But not yet. The manager's words hung in the air like poison, but Clint didn't flinch. He simply nodded, turned around, and walked out. What the manager didn't see was the tiny camera clipped inside Clint's shirt, recording every second of the exchange. Within 24 hours, the footage exploded online. Millions were stunned, not just by the disrespect, but by the hidden truth that surfaced next. A whistleblower from inside the company messaged Clint directly. This wasn't the first time. Applicants were routinely denied based on age, race, or appearance, and managers were rewarded for keeping staff on brand. Clint forwarded the tip to a federal labor watchdog. The very next morning, government agents raided 3 of the company's flagship locations. Meanwhile, Clint returned, not as a job seeker, but as a guest speaker at a televised press conference right outside the restaurant. The same manager who had dismissed him stood behind glass, watching Clint dismantle his legacy with nothing but the truth and a microphone. The media called it the Quiet War, but for the workers inside, it was a revolution. 2 weeks later, the company's board of directors faced a storm no PR stunt could fix. Over a dozen former employees came forward with recorded testimonies, each one confirming Clint's evidence and revealing years of discrimination buried under polished slogans. The manager who humiliated Clint was officially fired, but what really broke him was what came after. A surprise appearance by Clint at a local community event where he offered jobs, real ones, to every worker who had been silenced or pushed. Standing on a simple wooden stage, Clint didn't preach. He just pointed to a line of new hires behind him and said, they didn't need to change who they were. The system did. The crowd erupted. But just when things seemed to settle, an unexpected voice echoed from the audience. A young man stepped forward. He was the son of the manager. With shaking hands, he said, "I didn't know what my father was doing, but I want to make it right." Clint stared at him, stone-faced. Then he walked down, placed a hand on his shoulder, and whispered something no microphone caught. The boy nodded. And the next day, he leaked internal emails that revealed everything. Policies, quotas, and racist directives written by top executives. This wasn't over. It was just getting started. The emails triggered a chain reaction across the industry. News anchors read them live on air, while social media turned the brand's logo into a symbol of corruption. Protests erupted outside multiple branches, not with violence, but with silence. Dozens of people stood still in front of each location, holding signs that simply said how many were turned away. Clint, meanwhile, stayed quiet, until one night he appeared unannounced on a primetime talk show. The host asked, "Why you? Why take this fight personally?" Clint paused, his eyes heavy. Because that manager didn't just see a stranger. He saw someone worthless. And I've seen what that kind of judgment does to people. I've buried friends because of it. The audience went dead silent. Then he leaned forward, voice calm but sharp. "If we let power hide behind politeness, injustice becomes the norm." That line went viral in minutes. But backstage, something even bigger was brewing. A senator from Clint's home state contacted him directly, offering to meet and draft new legislation preventing discriminatory hiring practices. What started as a single insult at a front desk was now heading to Capitol Hill. And the biggest twist? The same company that rejected Clint was about to be forced into funding the very law that would regulate them. The hearing room in D.C. was packed. Journalists, lawyers, former employees, all watching as Clint Eastwood entered, not as an actor, but as the face of a movement. He sat across from the same executives whose names had been exposed in the leaked emails. No fancy speeches, just one line that shook the room. You built your empire on silence. I'm here to make sure no one stays quiet again. The silence was deafening. Then came the evidence, recordings, testimonies, and the moment that broke. The dam, a previously hidden HR document revealing racial and age-based ranking systems for hiring. Gasps filled the hall. And just when it seemed like justice had been served, Clint stood up and handed the final blow. A letter from a young man hired by Clint himself, once rejected for being autistic, now leading a team of 50. That letter ended with, "He believed in me when no one else would." The crowd stood. The committee approved the bill. And outside in the rain, dozens of ex-employees waited, not for a headline, but to thank the man who turned one act of hate into a nationwide reckoning. One by one they hugged him. And as the cameras rolled, Clint looked straight ahead and said, "This wasn't about revenge. It was about reminding them we're still here."